Are you known as a person who works? People say that you can get rich without doing anything, simply bet or gamble or do something and you become a millionaire. And so they deliberately sit down and do no work and expect to reap millions somewhere. You lack the discipline to work. Then you find a place to waste your time, which is the employing. But you are not just wasting your employer's time, you are wasting your own time. You work in a bank. You have no idea what the exchange rate is. You have no idea the way in which a business is being run. In my view, an employer is an entrepreneur. And an employee is also an entrepreneur, or should be an entrepreneur.
There's a joke that mixed rounds that says there is always this one individual in every office that is always roaming around with a bottle of water that has some lemon inside. You know, so that's, I mean, when everybody else is working, so it's a joke that goes around that there's that one individual, that one colleague we know. They're always carrying a bottle of water around the office. They are chatting. They are, you know, they just never seem to be, you know, as productive or working, you know, like with full concentration like everybody else. So it's a joke that goes around in the, you know, work circles. So, and I know there are also people who say, even if I miss work 2 weeks, I'll still get my pay. There are people who say, I'll still, you know, cover up for me, I know, at the end of the month, you know. So how does it work in those instances? So if an employee is the one who funds their own employment, what of these individuals who they just there to pass time? Because we know there are people who just pass, especially working in a department or in a team. There are those people who their output is quite minimal. Yeah.
You've said it. You've said it. Their pay is they are wasting their time. I've just said that you, as an employee, you can't be paid the amount of money you generate. You're probably being paid a fifth to a third of the money you've actually generated for you to be sustainable in that employment. So if you're unproductive, now this is where I tend to feel that as you lack the discipline to work, then you find a place to waste your time, which is the employing. But you're not just wasting your employer's time, you are wasting your own time. Just what I mean? Think of yourself as an entrepreneur. And many employees feel that, oh, I'm employed, I'm not an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur. You have employed yourself.
Wow.
Yeah. So think like an employer.
Light bulb moment.
Think like an employer. You know, who would actually want to hire you? Would you hire you? Would you hire yourself with that kind of behavior? So what kind of productivity are you going to expect from yourself over X years? So, you know, yes, it's a joke, but it's a very sick joke because you're wasting, you think you're earning free money, but you're actually wasting time that you would have earned money. Now, because you don't know that, you waste your time.
There's something you've said very profound, that you are an entrepreneur.
Yes.
But I don't think we look at it that way. We go to work and, you know, work and then expect a salary at the end of the month. But now you're challenging us to think of to take our jobs as our enterprises.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You sort of get out of your body and say, I am taking Alan to that office to do some work, and Alan is going to bring me back a sofa set, food to eat, savings of X amount, a car, a house, and, you know, all these life things, that I need to move ahead. It's going to bring back. So when Alan goes to work, he has been deployed by, of course, Alan to get Alan sustenance. personal development, capital,
yeah.
Skills, knowledge, wisdom. Let me tell you another one that you because you've said that the joke goes around. Do you know how many employees go to work with this attitude? So have you gone to the bank and you go to the bank teller and they say, okay, you normally have a savings account and so on. So so you just go to the teller and say, okay, so what's the exchange rate today? And the guy looks up from the counter and says, exchange rate. I'm not sure. Why don't you go and ask that guy over there? Maybe let me call the manager. You go to customer care. You work in a bank. You have no idea what the exchange rate is. You have no idea the way in which a business is being run. Are you getting my point? In other words, the value you could extract from the banking environment, you don't even have the mindset to understand that this customer is asking a very basic question. Anybody who is working in a bank surely should not just know how to count money, but should know the global exchange rate. They should actually know how many, what's the rate available at this time. They should actually know what the marketing department is doing. They should actually know something about the supplies and how they get to be, how this place was built. Because you can't be working in that enterprise and not learn about it. So that's another aspect that's so important about deploying yourself as an entrepreneur. You are going to learn. You know, even things like promotion, you should scheme for them or you should plan for them in the sense that I'm going to be here for 2 years and I'm a junior sales officer. So if I'm going to be a senior sales officer, what do I need to know? I need to know about the distribution. I need to know about the products. I need to know about the regions. Because those are the questions they're going to ask me at the senior sales level. Yeah. So I take these 2 years to really study those things. And then I put in my application at the end of 2 years and say, I'm ready to be a sales, senior sales officer. And you know, people say you're pretty cocky, but then when they ask you the questions,
you're ready.
And I'm ready. Wow. I've been here. So please don't hire somebody from outside. I'm here now. Yeah. But if you wait and say, no, they'll see me because I've just gotten my...
I work hard.
you something. Right? I mean, it's something that you need to think about. Yeah.
So it's not in your daily routine, because your routine could be, I come to work early, I do my job. So it's not necessarily in your daily routine. You have to be deliberate about planning for that promotion, planning for that retirement. You have to actively do that.
Yes. You have to plan your career. You know, if you've been in a job for 2 years, my friend, you probably know a lot about that job.
That's true. That's true.
If it hasn't gotten to you that you should be doing something else, you're undermining your human potential. Your human potential has the capacity to adapt. The day you got into the job, you probably didn't know left from right. And there was just about 30% of it. You knew the keyboard, you knew basics about Excel and so on. But within 6 months, boom, you are on top of things, right? 2 years later, if you're still doing the same thing without a challenge, my friend, where is your pay rise coming from? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now, this leads me to the next question. So we've already talked to that person who is already in employment, but also because the season, these are graduation season. And recently we've had people maybe sharing their desperation online, especially online. You know, maybe somebody graduated a year ago and they still haven't gotten a job, and they're thinking of switching careers, or they just feel deflated about life. So how would we address that category of people?
Okay. I'll be I have two ways of answering that. Maybe I won't go. I'll try and address the graduate. Let me start with the graduate. and or ask with the basic question, why are you looking for a job? Why are you looking for a job? If you can answer that question, then you will know where to look for the job. It may not be the job you want or you intend to get, but it is one in which you can start doing today. When you have learned, in a job, you have to learn how to work. You have to work. But there are many people who believe that when I get a job, I'll start working. You got it wrong. If you're privileged and you stay in a house with somebody else, with your mother, your parents, your brothers, your sister, and they ask you, please wash the dishes. And you say, man, that's too much work. So they'll ask you twice. But your mother is very clever. She will not ask you a third time. Let me put it to you that you've just been sacked. You had a job in your plate, right?
It was so subtle, yeah.
Yeah, and you refused to do it. You've just been sacked. And so my advice to anybody looking for a job, first of all, in a job, you'll be required to work. So learn how to work. Now, notice what happens to your brother who is always told, go and wash the dishes, and they go and wash and they clean the house and say, okay, let's send me to the market and I come back and so on. What happens to those guys? Those guys, when they apply for a job, the people will actually recommend them. Hey, no, John, call John. He's the one who does things around here.
Yeah.
He's already in the job. He has a job. Those are the kind of guys who are going to succeed because they know how to work. So if you're looking for a job, my question to you is, do you know how to work? Now, work doesn't have a choice in terms of white collar, red collar, blue collar, yellow collar, whatever collar. It's the person who is willing to pick up the broom and get the job done. Okay? So why am I saying that? You have probably got your CPA and you're looking for a job as an accountant. The only ones that are available is driving. The only one that's available is probably an accounts clerk who is going to be earning maybe X amount of money. But it's a start job. Maybe it's a salesman. You qualified as an engineer, but there's a sales job open here. Now, there are a lot of young people these days who are getting very creative. They do all sorts of qualifications and do any job that's available, and they start there. And that's so I'm saying this very carefully because I need to address the people. There's a segment I'm addressing here. The people who are in the first 3 years of employment. I'm telling you, in the first 3 years of employment, do what your hand gets to do. Because it is from there that you will get the capital, you'll get the mindset to be able to shape your career in the direction you want. Right now, it's not going to start because you're waiting to be an accounts manager and that job is not coming. Just do the sales tasks that is available. If you can get an opportunity to do some entrepreneurial activity, if you play music, if you do something that would be able to enable you to work over this period of time. Because look, there's always a challenge that, we need somebody with 3 years experience. So if you are waiting around for the perfect job, it's not likely to come through. And I say, start simply and humbly right from where you are. Are you known as a person who works? And whose works can be sold and recommended and driven? Okay. So yes, congratulations, you have a Bachelor of Science, BA, diploma, you're going into the job market. Everybody knows the job market is tough, but start at the level at which is available to you and start working towards it. So if you start as a salesman, but you wanted to be an accounts manager, then now you get in, you do your part one, you get a little bit of savings, put a little bit of money aside, and then start developing your career. Now, many great people, many rich people have started from the humblest positions, and they start from what is available, and they do it with diligence, and they accumulate. That's what I'm saying. We have a plan. Do you have a plan? Yeah. That's a plan. Okay, so that's one aspect, and I know you'll come back and ask me a question there. The second aspect that I need to let graduates or people who are coming out of college know is that the same skills that you will use in employment are the same skills you will use as an entrepreneur. Yeah. So you have got a CPA, so why don't you start doing books for the kiosk owners? And they pay you maybe whatever it is. Keep their books. Develop an entrepreneurial mindset. You know, in my view, an employer is an entrepreneur. And an employee is also an entrepreneur, or should be an entrepreneur. You're here for a reason. I have a skill. I can sell this skill, so I can go out there and sell it. Okay?
Wow.
So my challenge is, if you can't find a job, then job number 2, you become an entrepreneur. Now, for some people, the entrepreneur comes number 1. And then they feel boxed up in employment. In fact, many people who go into entrepreneurship say, I'm not going back to employment. But I'm saying there are only 2 jobs. You're either the entrepreneur or an employee. You have those options, so take them. So take that creative skill that you have. If it's art, start doing some drawings and put them out on the street, show them. Let me give you an example of local markets. Most local markets, but I'll take the one which I have experience. So here I go to the market, I'm buying oranges and tomatoes on this fruit stand, and there's this young man selling the tomatoes, and behind is a middle-aged lady. She's seated there observing, and I'm wondering, like, okay, this guy is doing the selling. Obviously, he has been hired. Now, I came to discover that story is not that he had hired. That young man is a college graduate. His mother, using those same tomatoes, onions, and oranges, has been able to pay for his fees to get through college. Tell me, who is the entrepreneur here?
Yeah.
She's now an employer, and the young man has humbled himself to be able to appreciate that these oranges and lemons are the ones that have educated me. Let me learn this skill. And he's been given an opportunity to be given an employee in his mother's shop. Okay. So he's an employee, but he's not. And then the word on the street is that he's a graduate, but he's looking for a job. The guy's on the job,
but not aware, not alert.
Not alert. The guy's on the job. Yeah. Why doesn't he do what his mother did? Get the money together, develop a capital, develop a goal, and a sense, create a career path that's going to get him there in a couple of years. It's not going to happen overnight.
Is it in the hard work or in the smart work? You know, people say it's not about hard work, it's a smart work. They say, if you talk about hard work, people say this analogy people give, that if hard work is what paved the way, the people who do manual labor, the ones who wake up very early, they are up by 4 a.m., they go maybe to a construction site and they are paid, very, the pay is not, as much. So the people who look at it that way, that is a lot of hard and manual labor for something measly at the end of the day. And they say instead work smart. So does this hold water? Does this kind of thinking hold water at all?
Okay. Almost every richest man in the world interviews, you'll ask, they will always say, to get wealthy, work hard. It doesn't matter if it's Bill Gates, it doesn't matter if it's Warren Buffett, it doesn't matter if it's Strive Masiyiwa or Dangote of Nigeria. My friend, there is nowhere you're going on this earth if you don't learn to work. Now, the question you're asking is a very important one, and And I'm answering it slowly because you need to see it's a perception shift, right? Is it hard work or is it working hard? Yeah. Because if you say this is hard work, that tells me something about your character. You're not willing to apply yourself. This work is too hard. And so you're looking for an excuse to work smart. Yeah. Now, when you're looking, there's nothing wrong with that, absolutely. You can do hard work working smart. But
hard work working smart.
Yes, but working hard incorporates working smart. Yeah. So apply yourself with all the skills, the knowledge that will enable you to get the most efficient route to your goals. Yeah. And if you can do that, then you will be able to have the personal discipline to work through a situation. So, and I frankly disagree with this. People say that you can get rich without doing anything, simply bet or gamble or do something and you become a millionaire. And so they deliberately sit down and do no work and expect to reap millions somewhere. Now it happens to one or two people who manage to bet their lives and become millionaires. But you notice that they don't become millionaires. They earn 1 million shillings. There's a difference between a millionaire, because a millionaire is able to keep their money. If you've earned 1 million shillings, you can lose it the same way you got it, which is by gambling. So you're talking about a person who has worked for it. One of the things I like to tell people is that you will appreciate the money you earn, even if it's 5 bob, if you have worked for it. If you have not worked for it, even if I gave you 1 million, the million can be gone tomorrow. Okay. So in working, there are also competencies and characters which you build, which enable you to develop the capacity to handle the kind of wealth you want. If you are faithful in a little, you will be faithful in much. But if you can't manage this little, this 5 bob, this 10 shillings, this $20, how do you expect to be like your employer who actually runs a 20 billion shillings empire? Who hires all those people? I mean, let's get a sense of respect here. He's he's worked so hard that he's created opportunity for others. And you just want to be like him. No, it's not going to happen. You have to work hard. Just because Manu Chandari has 10 companies doesn't mean that he should give you one. He has too many. At least give me at least. Oh, it might, if you're privileged, you might get a job in that environment and you will begin to learn. You will begin to create value for yourself. You will begin to see the way he sees. You will begin to get the environmental experience so that you too can handle that level of wealth.